In 1999, the Fourth Plinth project began, using the empty plinth in Trafalgar Square, London. The project initially was developed and commissioned by Cast Sculpture Foundation. The first commission was Mark Wallinger's Ex Homo, the Latin title of which means Behold the Man. It was a life-sized figure of Christ, with his hands bound behind his back and wearing a crown of barbed wire. Atop the huge plinth it looked minuscule. Some commentators say that, far from making the figure of Christ look insignificant, his apparent tinniness drew the eye powerfully. They interpreted it as a commentary on human delusions of grandeur. In 2000 it was the turn of Bill Woodrow, with a sculpture called Regardless of History. The gigantic bronze sculpture showed the head of a man being crushed under a giant book, both bound to the plinth by the roots of a tree. In 2001 it was Rachel White Reed with a sculpture called Monument. The artist, already notable for her Turner Prize-winning work with large-scale casts of objects, presented a cast of the plinth in transparent resin placed upside down on top of the original. The light refracted through the resin, adopting a myosotis and ghostly quality that was partially influenced by the weather. Despite the success of the Fourth Plinth project, the plinth then stood empty for several years due to funding issues. Eventually the new Greater London Authority assumed responsibility for Trafalgar Square and the Fourth Plinth. The Fourth Plinth Commission was then led by the Mayor of London's culture team, under the guidance of the Fourth Plinth Commissioning Group. The group is made up of specialist advisors appointed to guide and monitor the commissions for the plinth. The Fourth Plinth sculptures returned in September 2005 with Mark Quinn's commissioner Alison Lapper pregnant, a 3.6-metre, 13-ton Carrara marble torso bust of Alison Lapper, who was born with no arms and shortened legs due to a condition called phocomelia. The work explores representations of beauty and the human form in public space. In 2007 Thomas Scott presented a model for a Hotel 2007. A 5 metre by 4.5 metre by 5 metre architectural model of a 21-storey building made from horizontal panes of yellow, blue and red glass and weighing more than 8 tons. In 2009 Anthony Gormley presented One Another, a more performative intervention than a sculpture. Over the course of 100 consecutive days, a total of 2,400 selected members of the public each spent 1 hour on the plinth. They were allowed to do anything they wished to and could take anything with them that they could carry unaided. For safety reasons, the plinth was surrounded by a net, and a team of 6 stewards were present 24 hours a day. In 2010 the Fourth Plinth hosted Nelson's Ship in a Bottle by Yinka Shoni Bar Ray. This work consists of a replica of Nelson's ship HMS Victory with sails made of printed fabric and a colourful African pattern inside a large glass bottle stopped with a cork. The bottle is 4.7 metres long and 2.8 metres in diameter. In 2012 Scandinavian duo Michael Elmgreen and Inga Dragnet presented Powerless Structures, Fig 100 own, a 4.1 metres tall bronze sculpture of a boy on a rocking horse. Contrasting with the square's other statues which celebrate kings and military leaders, this commission was intended to portray the heroism of growing up. In 2013 Katrina Frisch showed Hen/Cock. The work was a 4.72 metres high blue sculpture of a domestic cockerel or rooster. The artist has described the cockerel as symbolizing regeneration, awakening and strength. In 2015 Hans Hock's sculpture Gift Horse was unveiled. Gift Horse depicts a skeletal riderless horse. Hock says the sculpture is a tribute to Scottish economist Adam Smith and English painter George Stubbs. The horse is based on an engraving by Stubbs taken from the Anatomy of the Horse published in 1766. Tied to the horse's front leg is an electronic ribbon displaying the ticker of the London Stock Exchange, completing the link between power, money and history. In 2016 the Fourth Plinth hosted Really Good by David Shrigley, a bronze sculpture of a human hand in a thumbs-up gesture, with the thumb greatly elongated. To the top of the thumb the sculpture is 7 metres tall. The sculpture is typical Shrigley style and received mixed responses due to its jovial nature. In 2018 Michael Rakowitz presented The Invisible Enemy Should Not Exist. The Invisible Enemy Should Not Exist is a creation of a sculpture of Imasa, a winged bull and protective deity, that stood at the entrance to Nergal Gate of Nineveh from 700 BC. It was destroyed in 2015 by ISIS, along with other artifacts in the Mosul Museum. Rakowitz's recreation is made of empty Iraqi date syrup cans, representing the destruction of the country's date industry. In 2020 Heather Phillipson will show a new work The End. The work explores shared experiences such as commemorations and mass protests through the form of a large scoop of ice cream being eaten by a fly. The sculpture will also include a drone with a camera attached to flying overhead that will enable onlookers to watch a live feed on their phone or tablet.